Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of our health and wellbeing series where I'm joined by Naiomi Bates.
Ooh!
Naiomi Bates is here, recently married and back to real life after 2 weeks off.
The best time of my life.
Yeah, exactly. We should run it back. But we're basically here to talk about her last 11 months.
Yeah.
Something like that. And basically, just to give an idea of where she was. And you are very stereotypical in terms of where you started to where you are now. And obviously we'll go through where you were and what happened. But everything that went on, and you're just when you were talking to me the first time, I was like, another one of these, another one of these.
Another mentalist.
Yeah, literally. So why did you reach out for help to start from? What was the biggest struggles for you?
I think for me, I just felt like I made excuses left, right and center. So life, I always just get quite overwhelmed. And when I'm overwhelmed, then that's it. I run away or I just suppress everything and then I don't speak to anyone about it. And then I get to a point where I'm like, I actually hate myself and I need to change something here because I actually cannot stand even looking at myself in the mirror. And I remember a message, I don't know what, I saw some video that you put on and I was like, that is me. Legit to a T. I was like, okay, I need to speak to you immediately. And I think you asked for an introductory of how I am. Yeah. And I think I sent you about 6 pages long. Everything like that. And I was like, I am so sorry. This is a long one.
Yeah. I remember I was scrolling through it and I was like, why am I still scrolling? What's going on? I'm still scrolling.
It's like I was in school doing an exam for English or something. I was like, paragraphs, everything ready to go. But I just felt like I was so busy. I had no time. And I was just making really shit choices. Yeah. And then I was like, okay, I need to change something. Yeah. Because the only person that can change it is me.
Very true.
Yeah.
Inspirational. So obviously time was a big issue for you.
Yeah.
Working as much as you do, obviously, but I didn't really appreciate your working schedule. I do now.
Yes.
It's a bit bananas, but I appreciate it now. Obviously, lack of time was a big one.
Yeah.
Gym-wise, there's a lack of knowledge there. I wouldn't say confidence, you were pretty confident, but the knowledge part wasn't quite there. And then obviously you wanted to lose weight as well. Yeah,
and I think at the time I thought I knew what I needed to do, but I actually had no idea. And I think that was the part that really changed my brain because I was like, okay, I'm really learning stuff and I'm really enjoying that aspect of it because it's giving me something to focus on other than work because my work just consumes my whole life. I have days off that are actually not days off. And I always were like, oh no, that's a priority. I was never a priority until I started with you and I was like, no, I actually come first. And my happiness and my health comes first and work second. And first. Yeah, exactly. And I just thought, that for me, that was really important for sure.
But it's common though when you've got, you obviously run your business with your sister and it's so common. I remember as well, we were first speaking and you, in your big long essay, you were like, oh, so it was really it read really casually. You were just like, oh yeah, I just burn out all the time and then I just go again. Yeah. And I remember saying to you, I was like, no, this isn't normal. You shouldn't burn out this much. Yeah. I think you've only had two maybe? I
had one really bad one. One maybe a little blip.
I think you had one and then I think the blip was a meltdown more than anything.
Yeah. I think that was also wedding stress.
Yes, that's fair.
My brain can't cope with lots happening and I felt like I also didn't help myself because I took so much on. So then I would get to the point where I literally was burning out every 3 months because I was I kept saying yes to everything because I don't want to let anyone down. I don't want anyone to stress. So I would then take on everyone's stress, which then honestly made me just be a walking time bomb. I was just waiting for the moment for me just to go, bing, I'm off. I'll see you later. Yeah, that's crazy.
And it happened.
And it did, yeah.
Totally. So what we're going to do is we're going to break it down and make this relatable for people because with us, there's basically 3 things. It's lifestyle, it's exercise, it's food. All the 3 things that were a bit all over the place with you.
Oh yeah, none of them existed.
Yeah, exactly. So we just need to link them all together and just make them make sense. So exercise-wise, obviously there was a lack of gym knowledge there. We get that. Let's talk about how you seen exercise back then versus how you see it now. Going to the gym back then, what was it for you?
It was a pain in the arse. It was. The thought of going there, I was like, absolutely not. I don't have time. Why would I waste my time going there when I could just be at home trying to like de-stress from my day. Because to me, I felt like the gym would just add stress. It wouldn't be extracting it. So immediately I was like, oh, I'm actually feeling kind of good here. I was like, this is making me not so stressed. Come in here. I was like, but yeah, for me, that was the biggest thing. It's such a stress reliever. And like, I can go in there and turn my phone off and not speak to anyone and have a really good workout. And then like all the things that really stressed me out over my day at work, I would leave the gym and I would actually forget about them. Whereas before, I would be so stressed out, I'd go home and I would have like a 40-minute screaming match at Lewis of not even anything he's done, just my day. And then I sit there and I'm like, okay, I'm exhausted now because I just projectile vomited stress onto him, which was such a shame. And I did that every day. So how he still married me, I don't know.
He still married you. I mean,
but he did. So it can't be that bad.
Yeah.
But honestly, it was just really bad. And like now, I actually can't wait to go. I'm like, I need this today. I was like, I am like pushing everyone out of the way. I was like, let me in here because it's genuinely the place that I need to be to like help me with stress.
It's cool because there's so many girls that say that to me now. They're like, I'll say to them, when you go to the gym this week, what you kind of planned? And they're like, oh, I need to go this time. Or I need to go twice this week. I need to go. It's not a case of like, oh, I might go.
I have to go.
I get to go. Or I have to go. I'm like, or they're like, I need to go.
Oh, 100%. Like that was me to a T. Like I need to be there.
So you would say, in terms of going to the gym, it was more, it is now more health related? Yeah. Rather than just like vanity, looking in the mirror,
100%. Kind of stuff. Nah, like I know, because that's the thing, when you're getting married, there's such a stress and a pressure to like be the best you've ever looked and lose loads of weight and, you know, to have like a dress that's so much smaller. And then I feel like, you know, it's just so much better now that I don't have to focus on that, because on the day, my dress was actually still too big for me, which was just a mare. But anyway, it was not even about that. I just wanted to feel strong and healthy on the day, which I did. Yeah. And that was what I wanted to achieve. I didn't want to focus on a number. I didn't want to make myself feel shit on the morning, looking at myself in the mirror and being like, oh, you don't look the way you should be looking. Yeah. And I think that's such a focus for brides to like look the best they ever have when they're going to look amazing in your dress anyway, because your dress is made for your body, so it's gonna look unreal. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, that's
cool. Yeah, totally. It's a big pressure, to be fair. I think in general, like the gym is just associated with pressure of looking a certain way.
Yes.
And even nowadays, with girls who have to wear like, you know, you've got like, I can't remember this brand. Is it Able?
Oh yeah.
That's how you say it.
Yes.
You've got Gymshark, you've got Able, you've got My Protein, you've got all these like different types of leggings, all these different types of like matching tops, and like there's such a pressure to like fit into those tops, suit those tops. Yeah. I don't like it.
I don't wear any of that shit. Like, I'm just putting out there. Like, I'm sorry, I don't need to be in the fitness influencer Olympics. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, I don't need that. Yeah. Like, I'm not there for that. Yeah. I couldn't really give a shit what I'm wearing. Like, at the end of the day, there is people in a lot of the gyms that are like that, and I just look at them being like, grow up. Yeah, exactly. Like, there's really no need to. We're not that's not the reason you're there. It's not a fashion show. It's to actually make yourself feel better and develop and actually have like a good workout. But there's girls who feel like they have to go in looking their best because it's such a vulnerable place to be.
And it's probably a barrier to start with for them.
And I've 100% been there where I'm like, is anyone looking at me doing this deadlift because I've only got like 10 kilos on the bar, you know, because you literally feel so embarrassed at yourself that you feel like, okay, well, maybe if I get this really amazing outfit that I'm going to then fit in, when people actually don't even realize they don't care. They actually don't care. Exactly.
No. So what advice would you give to someone who was like old Naiomi, who was maybe going to the gym for, I was going to say the wrong reasons, but different reasons to what they are now? What advice would you give them?
I think, like, if you're like me and you you put a lot of pressure on yourself when it's actually unnecessary, you have to kind of take a step back and think like, what's going to make you happy in the long run? Because I was really unhappy and I knew that I had to change something. And I think it's a scary place to make that first step to change and to be like, do you know what, maybe if I even do it for one day, that will help me. And I think for me, I didn't know what to expect when I first came on board with you, because I was like, will we actually get on? Will this be for me? Am I going to be a gym girl? Like, I just didn't know. But it's the actual best thing I've ever done. Like, it's really helped me mentally.
Yeah,
and I think that will help so many people to just even chat about it, about your concerns, about what you want to maybe even achieve in like 6 months. And if there's steps that you can make to make yourself happy, is a way that you could do that.
Yeah. Sure, and the gym's, I think, one of the biggest ways, because everything,
Totally.
If you're going to the gym today, you would have ate breakfast properly, you would have ate lunch properly, and your meal for tonight is prepared.
Yeah.
It's simple. You probably would have drank more water than usual as well. It's just like a wee add-on effect, isn't it?
For sure.
Well, let's go into food then, because I kind of like caveat. That's a nice wee like caveat, wasn't it? You were a shit show with food, Liz.
Honestly, fucking terrible.
Yeah, it wasn't great, was it?
No. I just didn't eat, really.
Healthy.
I think the reason I also burnt out so much is because I was working on zero. I had coffee, about 8 coffees a day. I don't need that. I'm hyper enough. I don't need to have all that extra caffeine. I wouldn't eat. I would just have like the bare minimum. I would get to like 2, 3 in the afternoon, hadn't eaten a thing. I just had coffee, maybe a glass of water. And then I'm like, oh, I'm hungry now. Maybe I'll have a croissant. Or maybe I'll have like a packet of crisps. Yeah. Or, oh, actually, I'll just have this like, I don't even know, just something utter shite. Just to like get something in my body. And then I would go home starving like an actual predator in my kitchen, being like, what can I eat? I need everything in sight.
Yeah, and then Lewis comes in and he's for it.
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah. No. But I was just like, I just had no structure at all. I had no plan. I was gorging at home. Or then I'd be like, I've had such a stressful day. I'm going to go home and drink wine. Then I have 2 bottles of wine. And then I'm like, right, I'm going to go for a bath and I'm going to go to bed. And then I'm going to eat a whole bar of chocolate in bed because I deserve that after a stressful day. And it was just this knock-on effect. And it was happening all the time where I was just not treating my body very well at all. Or I'd eat because I knew they were high in fat, I would have like pork pies in my fridge. So I would go home and have that because that would tide over the hunger. Yeah. And then I'd be like, no, that's enough now. The day's basically done. What's the point in having a big meal now? Yeah. And then I'd go on to the next day and do it all over again. I had to control myself because a girl said to me, she had a really stressful day and she said, I really wanted a Kit Kat. And she was like, I needed to treat myself to Kit Kat. And my first instinct was like, you're not a fucking dog. You do not need to treat you. I know. Why are you treating yourself like this? Yeah. Why do you think this way? I know. You were a shambles. I was a shambles. And now I look back, I'm like, you are a psycho. I don't know how. Just because of food in general. In general. Yeah. But mostly because of the food part. Because now I eat so much more than I ever have in my life, by the way. Yeah. And I'm like, how the fuck did I actually live off of nothing? Yeah. I don't know how I managed that. Like, it doesn't make sense. This is my next question, because all of a sudden, it was really, really quick as well. It was a case of, you were like, this is the state of my food. And I was like, okay, let's change this. Yeah. And then it was like, 2 weeks later, oh, by the way, I've prepared my meals for the next fortnight. And I was like, what's this bipolarness? What's going on here? I feel like maybe I am. Because something literally switched in my brain where I was like, okay, if I'm having such a stressful day, I know that my worst thing is I will come home, not eat, go to bed or have a bath and just like avoid what I need to do. So I'm going to make everything that I can so I can just walk home in the fridge. It's all there ready. Yeah. So I don't need to think about anything. It's there. So I'm like, so it immediately will help me feel less stressed because I have everything there that I need and I just need to go home and heat it up. And that's it. And like, it got me into a bit of a routine for dinners, especially because I said to you from the start, you will not catch me dead making any meal prep. And you were like, haha, we'll see. And I was like, no, never happening. And now I'm obsessed with it. Now I love a meal prep. It's my favorite thing because it just is so much easier. And you hear people online and you hear people talking about it. And I actually think the reason I didn't want to do it is because everyone was talking about it. And I was like, I'm not getting on that train. I'm not copying people. Yeah, I was like, I'll do it my way. My way was shite. Yeah. Clearly, the reason people meal prep is because it actually genuinely helps you. And like, it has made my life so much easier. And now I enjoy it. It saves so much time. But I don't do it like the same thing for 5 days because that actually kills my soul. Yeah, I can't have the same thing every day. Like, that would make me really depressed. So now I have it like in like 2 day or 3 day increments. Yeah. So then I have the same thing for 3 days, which is not that many days. And then I know that, right, I'm coming on to the next thing and the next thing. That's a life hack. So like,
So people always say to me, and again, this is a red flag and it annoys me, they're like, they basically say, I'm bored of my meals.
Yeah. Well, you're not a good cook then.
Yeah, true. But then I'm also like, what is the problem with you just rotating like 5 or 6 meals that you really enjoy? Because nobody's ever bored of 5 or 6 meals. 5 or 6 meals is a lot of meals.
It is a lot.
That's a lot of like variation and choice.
Yeah.
Like, be an adult and just rotate them.
I know.
And stop looking for like all these fucking TikTok recipes. Just rotate them.
I don't follow any recipes. I just make it up myself.
I've noticed that.
Because I just, first of all, I don't have time to be standing, doom scrolling to find something that I might want to make. Like, I'm not here for that. So I was like, or like Lewis literally buys like 80 recipe books and reads like 1 page and puts them away again. And I was like, leading 15. No, absolutely shite. And like, I was like, I have no time for that. I just go in and just throw everything in. Yeah. And people are like, what's that recipe? I was like, I couldn't tell you. I just made it out of whatever was in my cupboard because again, it's this like pressure when you're eating healthy. Everyone thinks like it needs to look pretty, it needs to look this, like it needs to have all these different ingredients in it. When I literally just have staples that I have every single day, and it is chicken, I have veg, and I literally sometimes have like potatoes, rice, noodles. Always make sure those things are in my cupboard because they're the things that are going to keep you fuller for longer and they taste good. Because like, again, I think when you go into working out and you're wanting to eat healthy, you then think that you can't have anything that you normally do because it's bad food.
You associate eating healthy with low calories.
Yeah.
And a diet, which is not true.
No.
Eating healthy is colours and...
I have said it till I am blue in the face. This whole 11 months is I have not cut out anything that I like because there is no point in that. Like, I have just made it so I'm not having it all the time. Yeah. I still have these things, but I'm making things that I enjoy, but just not as like calorific.
Yeah, exactly.
But it still tastes unreal.
I think it was one of my concerns when you were messaging me the first month and you were just like, I've made this, I've made that. And I was like, tell me what the fuck's in this? Like, what's going on? But you obviously, you were tracking, which is cool. And it was a case of, oh, actually, you know what, she's winging it, but like, she's got an idea what's in there at the same time. And most people don't, they just wing it and just do it.
I also love cooking. So for me, that is a stress reliever. Yeah. So if I know that, right, I'm making all these meals and I'm actually going to enjoy these because I enjoy cooking and I love that whole process of meal prep. People normally hate the meal prep part, but I actually really enjoy it where, you know, I'm actually buzzing to see, right, what am I going to make this week? Like, what can I make that's going to be really good?
So what would you, to make it relevant then to people that don't like cooking, what would you say got you into doing it? Yeah, what would you say got you into it?
I think for me, what got me into like the meal prep side of things and like the healthy cooking side of things was I wanted to see how easy it was to make something that I normally like having. Like, say if you're going out somewhere and you really like a certain pasta dish, how can you make that at home? That's easier, that's simplified, but it's hitting your protein, it's hitting everything it needs to, and it's making you feel like you've eaten that and you're like, wow, that actually was really good. Like, that was really great. And like, I like simple dishes. I like simple recipes that aren't hard. Like, it's not hard to make them because for me, time. I don't want to be wasting hours and hours in a kitchen. I want something that's going to be quick, easy. Like four or 5 ingredients, I'm good. Like, I don't need anything else. And I think, again, it's when you just have that simplified recipes that are still going to hit your protein, that is what you need to focus on. Not all of these TikTok videos where it's like 18 steps. I was like, fuck that. Like, why are you wasting all this time?
Who's got the time?
Like, who has the time for that? I don't get it, honestly.
Do you know what really annoys me? When you go into people's kitchens and you open up their spices, why is there fucking 50 spices?
No, that's me.
Oh, why?
No, I will show you my spice cupboard.
You don't use those 50 spices?
No, I do.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do. No, I actually do.
Oh my God.
And I got a new spice organizer for all my spices because I have many. I have a whole cupboard.
I'm very sceptical that you use all of them.
I do.
I'm going to have to message Lewis to find out if you actually use them.
Fine.
He won't know anyway, actually.
No, he won't. He has no fucking
So, from a lifestyle perspective,
yeah.
Obviously, as I said, the big alarming thing for me was, why are you burning out so much? This is not normal. And that was like, from my point of view, it was like, okay, like, let's go health related here because you can't just burn out all the time. So what do you feel helped reduce the burnouts? because, as I said, you can't live the life that you were living, trying to give to everyone else, and just keep burning.
Priority 100%, because I wasn't a priority in my life. I didn't put myself first ever, and I didn't think that I mattered. My life was my job. My life was making everyone else happy before myself. It's that whole saying of like, how can you fill up your cup? How can you fill up everyone else's cup when your cup's empty? And that is what I relived every day. And I got to a point I was like, why am I actually doing this? Because I've changed the way I do things now. People haven't even noticed, because they actually don't care. They don't care that much. But I cared too much, where I just wanted to please everyone all the time, 24/7. And I was like, I am so fucking miserable, and no one even notices. They don't even know that that's the case. Like, it's just you. And I just kept doing that. And I was like, I'm not doing it anymore. I am making boundaries, and I'm going to stick by them. And that was the biggest challenge, I think, of everything, was putting myself first and actually like appreciating my own time and like realizing, okay, I know that work is absolutely kicking off right now, but this is my day off, and I need to go to the gym and do my meal prep and do my shopping and turn your phone off. And that's literally what I do. Because if not, I will be then stressed at home, can't focus, can't actually enjoy my time off, coming into work to help out or whatever they're needing to do. And then I go back to work and I haven't actually felt rejuvenated or good in myself, because I've just put everyone else first.
So your personality is quite good in a way that like you're quite ruthless enough to do that, and just be in that way, like, fuck everyone else, I'm just going to look after myself, which is great. But a lot of people aren't. And like, I'll always say to mums especially, it's like, how can you prioritize yourself, how can you do this, that, and they'll just come back and say, oh, I'll just feel really guilty though. The guilt actually consumes me so much, where I'm like, I'm a horrible person. I am a horrible person. Everyone's going to hate me. Like, that proper paranoia kicks in, where I'm like, no, I'm such a dick. I can't believe I've just said no. But then I'm like, people say no to you all the time. People literally say no on the daily. So if for one day in a week you want to say no, then you say no. And that's literally where it's at. Like, I think about in a day, if I've like asked someone a question, they've said no. Honestly, you would be so surprised if you started writing down how many times someone says no to you in a day. Like, you are actually allowed to say no. But then it is, I think it's as human beings, we just immediately feel guilty. Like, we immediately just feel like we're horrible, and that no one's going to like you, or no one's going to ask you again, or no one's going to ask for advice, because like you're not going to be there for them. But it's just all fabricated in your head. It is, to be fair. It is. Especially those that are closest to you. They're always going to need you. They're always going to want you. That makes sense. So would you say you're a better wife, business owner, friend, cat owner, all these different things, because you're a little bit more selfish now, and you've obviously like looked after yourself?
100%. Like, without a doubt. And even like Nicole says to me all the time, she's like, you are just so much more like self-assured. Like, you just get it. You just know yourself, you know your boundaries, and it's so like obvious to everyone that you are genuinely like, you want to help, but you will help in your time, in the time that you will allow, kind of thing. And it's just, and it makes a huge difference. And I think for me, especially in my marriage to my husband, it's just like, for me, I just don't feel like I'm at him, because you can
let him breathe.
Calmer. I think, and that's a huge thing. I think he's probably delighted, to be honest. But
I can imagine.
He's like, get to the gym.
Love that.
I think it's just like, I feel much better and calmer, in the sense of like I just feel like I'm using my time so much better, and that gives me a lot of like happiness in myself to know that I'm. It's
actually a really good word to use, self-assured. It does. It makes you self-assured. Makes you calmer. And it makes you more in line with how you want to feel.
Absolutely.
Which is cool. So I'm not going to let you use that again in terms of like, looking after yourself and prioritizing yourself. But if there's people who are needing to kind of flip their own mindset and just be a little bit more, look after themselves, what advice would you give them, again, that you've been through when you were making that initial change?
If I was to give anyone advice, if they were trying to like flip their mindset, I would be like, I'd probably say to someone to just like, how do I say this where it's not the same context as the last time? I feel like I would just have to be like, if you want to change something, put it into like a graph, right? Even like in your head of being like, is this something that is going to really affect everyone around me if I change this one thing? And if the answer is no, then just do that one thing. Don't think that you need to change everything all at once. You don't need to you don't need to have this total like miraculous change overnight. You can just change one tiny thing. And if you've noticed that your circle's good, that you're good, that actually that small change was okay, then try and do another thing. And another thing, slowly. Doesn't all need to happen overnight. I think with my personality, I'm very much like black or white. So I changed everything overnight.
I noticed.
Which I think was a bit ridiculous because I was like, no wonder I had a breakdown. Genuinely, that's probably why. Because I went to full throttle when I think if I took a bit slower, it probably would have been like an easier transition. But I just go big or go home. Whereas I think for anyone coming in, I think if you just take it a little bit slower and just see if you can change one tiny little thing, will that actually help?
Yeah, I think the caveat of that is, and you are great to say that because you're like me and everyone else that's kind of like, who I work with, you're health minded now, but you can't say, that's almost like saying be patient with people.
Yeah.
People aren't patient.
Yeah, I know.
People are a fucking
Hence
nightmare.
why it's me. I am the least patient person on the planet. Like I want to wake up and it's changed. Like that has just been me my whole life. Everyone in my family will agree with me on that because they're like, honestly, we don't know if you're coming or going. You've got a new idea, a new something, and you just go for it. And like Nicole always says, like, I've got no fear. Like I will just, if I've got something locked in, I'm doing it. It doesn't matter what anyone says, I will do that. And so there's times where I'm like, well, you've just contradicted yourself because you've not done any of those things. You just went absolutely balls to the wall, and now you're like,
literally couldn't. But
no, I actually couldn't.
On.
Yeah, exactly. But I think like it's always just a scary thing, and if you just take your time, not even take your time because you put that into my head there. That's not what I think. What I just feel like is, if you can just change one thing out of your whole week, like what you do in your schedule and what you do in your routine, and if you don't like what you do in your routine, if you could change it for even like a couple of days, and if you enjoy that more, then do it again for another couple of days and vice versa. And then if you go to the end of your week and you're like, do you know what? That was actually really good. I really enjoyed that. Well, then do it again and do it again.
Run it back.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool. Perfect.
So it's not about time. No. It's about just perseverance.
Fucking get on with it.
Yeah,
get
exactly.
on with it. Cool. I think that's pretty much us, to be honest. I think we've covered most of it.
Yes, we have.
Perfect. Awesome. Cool. Thank you for listening. Most importantly, forget that conversation. If you get the chance, come down to Perk because it's amazing. It's my favourite place. I love their coffees. I love their donuts. Clearly, I'm going to take one home. That's the only reason I come here. And yeah, it's amazing. So if you get a chance, come down to Perk. It's incredible. And we'll see you for the next episode.
Yeah. Woohoo!
There you go.